My name is Teata, bearer of the morning. I am Chickasaw and a storyteller. And this is my story.
Hello, my name is Paul Quay, and by the intro you just watched, I'm sure you can guess already, but the indigenous piece of work that I chose to do this project on was the movie Teata. The reason I chose this particular film was because with the help of over 200 Chickasaw tribal members, this movie was able to describe the life of Teata beautifully, while also incorporating the various cultures and stories within Chickasaw life. The film Teata also speaks on the issue not many people focus on. Due to assimilation tactics forced upon various Native American tribes, the stories within these cultures were no longer shared commonly. And these stories were not simple bedtime stories, but rather stories that were embedded with history and memories. The action of taking away storytelling is equivalent to not allowing someone to learn their people's history. Before I describe the film Teata and the significant moments within the movie, I would like to first describe the brief history of the Chickasaw people and provide an example of one of the stories within their culture. In the picture I just showed you, it highlights the original lands the Chickasaw people used to belong to, in an area that would eventually be split into 4 states: Mississippi, Kentucky, Alabama, and Tennessee. They were then forced to modern-day Oklahoma in the mid-1800s. The Chickasaw people are actually connected to another Native American tribe, the Choctaw, and this connection is explained through the story of Ophietobe. This story is one of many within the Chickasaw culture that was able to be incorporated within this film. I will include it here now for us all to watch.
Long ago, my people, they were searching for a place to call home. Ahead of them was a great white dog, Ophietobe.
Ophietobe?
He traveled far ahead of them, always on alert, and always warned of any dangers. He was their faithful guard and scout.
As stated before, this film follows the life of Teata, a Chickasaw woman who would grow up to eventually tell the stories of her people in the White House. Teata, which means bearer in the morning, is a name she eventually gained in her 20s after she decided she wanted to become a storyteller. The name she grew up with was Mary Thompson Fisher. Her father was Chickasaw and her mother was of German descent. This movie starts off with Teata as a young child and slowly progresses until she starts college at Oklahoma College for Women and meets an acting professor called Frances Desmore, a woman who is the first to encourage Teata to share her stories with the world, framing it as a talent that she has and she should be able to share it with everyone. After gaining the confidence to perform her stories in front of other people, Teata starts to be invited to events in which her stories are encouraged to be shared. There, she meets 2 men. One, a man that would eventually become her husband, and second, a man who provides her with the opportunity to join an entertainment circus for the summer and continuing sharing her stories, which she quickly accepts. Before she leaves, her father suggests the names Teata after an aunt that used to call her that, in which she immediately accepts. During the circus, Teata is able to meet other indigenous people, in which they take the opportunity to share their stories with her, with the hopes that she is able to share their stories with them. Throughout her travels, Teata meets a variety of people, but one in particular offers her the opportunity of a lifetime: Eleanor Roosevelt. Near the end of the movie, Teata is personally invited to perform at the White House for President Franklin D. Roosevelt's first state dinner. The movie ends with a montage of Teata, her accomplishments, and illustrating how she was able to spread the stories of her people across the world until her death right before she turned 100 years old. This movie was produced by Chickasaw Nation Productions. As stated before, it had over 200 tribal members included in the development of the film, and it included a vast array of indigenous people within the cast. All of this accomplishes two things. First, it provided the chance to tell the story of Te'ata and multiple Chickasaw stories in a way that would truly honor her and the stories themselves without including any unnecessary romanticization or dramatization of any of the subjects. Second, I believe the film Te'ata can be used as an inspiration to many indigenous people to want to start filmmaking and film the stories within their various Native American tribes and share them with the world. Te'ata highlights that modern day Western media can be used to preserve cultures while also respectfully showcasing the culture to the rest of the world. As I near the end of my presentation, I would like to say this. I personally learned a lot while watching this film, and I highly recommend it to everyone. And I would like to hear all of your thoughts about my idea that Indigenous people should produce more movies that incorporate their culture that is still respected. I feel like this would be a wonderful conversation. I look forward to all of your presentations, and I hope you all have a great spring break.
Walking two worlds to live as one. Hear our voice, join our song. A new dawn has come.